And here we go. Happy 2024, babe.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. I am trying to bundle up because it is cold here in Austin. I don't like it at all.
You know, we can't complain that much because we come from New York where it was like
It's true.
minus 10
Yeah.
degrees and we're in Austin and cold for us now is 50 degrees. And people that are in the Northeast right now are listening to this being
No,
like,
I
really?
know. Yeah, but you know what? I think it's still valid. I think everyone's, you get used to one temperature and then anything becomes cold. My mom is cold at 70 degrees now. So I agree with you. It depends on where you live. But yeah, I'm going to say that I'm very cold today. But I'm excited. We actually posted something earlier about how childhood may or may not have affected your life as far as choosing to be child free. So we'll talk about that later. But yeah, I just wanted to start off by saying Happy New Year to you as well. And we have so much to talk about. It's exciting. We're starting the year off. We launched our podcast a few months back, so we haven't had an official New Year podcast yet. This is our first one, and I'm really looking forward to it. Are you?
Yeah. I came into this first podcast of 2024 with excitement, joy, gratitude,
Yes.
and I have a lot on my mind.
I know. I know.
I have a
Well, before
lot on
you
my mind.
start, yeah, I know you have a lot. But before you start, I just want to remind people that we are going to be having guests on the podcast this year. So if you want to be a guest, an expert guest, and what we're looking for is really people who we want to talk about all the topics that are important to us, whether it's real estate, finances, health and wellness, food, fashion, travel, anything under the child free umbrella. So if you're interested in that, if you're an expert in those fields and want to talk to us about it, we put up a form both on the podcast page of our website and we'll put it in the show notes as well, which you'll find in the description.
And
Uh, yeah,
yeah, and that's a good point because one of the reasons why we called it the Child Free Connection Plus is because not only are we just talking about being child free and what goes along with that, but also everything outside of your life, right?
yeah.
Everything that encompasses your life. So that's why we added the plus. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we also talked about having some of our members of our membership community here on the show as well so that they can share the story. So it's going to be a fun, interesting year for our podcast, and I'm really looking forward to it. But I did want to bring up, we were watching a show last night, and if you don't know yet, Rick and I are obsessed with true crime. We watch true crime, everything on the sun. It's to the point I think we've watched almost every true crime documentary or docu-series that exists
At
because we've
least
been
at least on Netflix. I mean, here's the thing. It's we
yeah,
don't just watch true crime documentaries. We watch true crime like
everything.
scripted shows that are
Yes,
like television show. Like everything. Is that a
I
kind of a
know.
weird thing that we're obsessed with true crime?
Um, well, some of our community members are on board, some are not. We have friends that absolutely refuse to watch it. We love it. To me, it's like this warm, cozy blanket, and we usually watch it right before bed, which is probably the worst time. As you're falling asleep, you're listening to someone just, talking about a murder, but I don't know. We're into it.
Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. Do you feel that you have enough information in your arsenal that if
Yeah.
you wanted to commit a crime, that you
hmm
would know what to do and what not to do to a certain degree?
I know why you're asking this because this came up the other night.
Did it? I don't
And
even
to an
remember.
extent, remember we were talking about we were watching a show and the person threw the gun like out the window that they just
Oh,
shot
right,
someone with.
right. Yep,
And we were
yep.
like, well, what? That's so dumb. What would you do with the gun? And we live in front of a lake. And you were saying how you just dump it in the lake. And I was like, I don't think that's the best place. So anyway, we started having this in-depth conversation about how we would hide the weapon or where it would. So to answer your question, I think that um I just I it's not so much on the murder side, thank goodness, but I think that I feel that I would ask the right questions when investigating a crime at this point. So, I don't know. I'm
Well,
more
well,
on
I'm
that
I'm
side.
I'm happy you're not thinking about murder. That's good. But I mean, I did want to say when you said throwing the gun in the lake, you were
Yeah.
like, no, I would drive upstate and I would go somewhere else and I would throw it. And I was like, what about all the cameras that would be taking pictures of you going through tolls? So like there's a lot
Yeah.
that goes into this and you really got
Right.
to take all that into account.
Right.
You could go and break that down as much as you want. And another thing we've realized is that, God forbid, we're ever in the wrong place at the wrong time and we get arrested and we
Oh,
go,
yeah.
what's the first thing we say if we get arrested and we're being interrogated?
Lawyer.
Yeah, lawyer,
Or even if someone comes to our door and wants to ask us a few questions about something,
lawyer,
lawyer.
lawyer.
Because also we've seen too many shows where people get convicted of a crime they didn't commit. So that's what we're referring to here. I mean, we've seen so many of those. So yeah, lawyer. If you don't watch these shows, that's what you want to say every time. Do not answer any questions.
Every show is consistent in that regard.
Yes.
It is
Yeah.
always about they talk too much before their lawyer is there, and it just
Right.
buries them, and sometimes
Right.
falsely. You know,
Yes.
it's like
Exactly.
it's crazy. But yeah, the
Yes.
obsession of true crime docuseries and scripted television is real, and it's
Yes.
very abundant in this household on a daily basis.
So we were watching a show where the detective goes to see, I think it was a suspect's house with the
All
wife,
right.
and the wife was pregnant. And the detective said, when he saw the wife, he said, "Oh, congratulations." And
Yeah.
then Rick pauses the show
Mhm.
and looks at me and says, "Why do we have to say congratulations?" And that's
So
where it all started.
So that sounds very harsh and rude right off the top, just the way it comes out like that. But let me just break
Okay.
it down a little
You
bit.
didn't
Okay.
say it harsh and rude, but yeah. So
I know. No.
that's how
It
it
was,
came out.
I posed a question, but I do want to bring this up in a sense that, okay, I think congratulations is a very polite thing to say. So I'm going to preface by saying that on anything really, if you do,
Right.
any kind of accomplishment. But what I questioned in this case is just that it's just very routine. That the minute, I'm pregnant. Oh, congratulations. And I'm like, I'm coming in hot in 2024 with this
Yeah.
thought.
Mm-hmm.
Is it really worth the congratulations? It's, breathing is involuntary. So like you don't congratulate someone on breathing every day. And I'm not saying it's equal to that. But my thought is it's like, it's just kind of what people do that want to have children is have babies. And does it warrant a congratulations? It's open for discussion. What are your thoughts? I know this is probably a hot topic, but
You know, I always say congratulations, and I think we always say congratulations. But after you mentioned it, because when you first said it, I thought it was a little bit harsh. But then I thought about it and I was thinking, is it something that we're just conditioned to do,
say.
like everything else around this topic? And I see your point in saying that two people had intercourse and created
Had
a
sex, had intercourse.
human.
What are you, 80? Two people had intercourse, therefore, jeez. They had sex. All right, continue. I get
Trying
it.
to be polite about it.
All right. Well, I'm clearly calling you out on that. All right, go ahead.
All right. Two people had sex, they created a human, and now we're
I feel
congratulating
let me
them.
pause
I don't
you.
know. I'm on the fence with this one.
Let me actually stop you there. I
Okay.
do think that when the baby comes out, when you deliver the child, that kind of
Yes.
warrants a congratulations because there's this new human being there, whatever.
Well,
But
not to mention what the mom just endured for the past 10 months. Yeah.
yeah. Great point.
Mhm.
I'm talking about just the fact that the pregnant part.
Right.
Congratulations, you're pregnant. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna wait to when the baby's there. If I've friends, family that have
Yeah.
kids, and then I'll say congratulations. But now it's, what do you say when someone says I'm pregnant? You're like, oh, that's cool. What do you like? Oh, that's cool for you. Actually, that's better. That's cool for you. Not, I wouldn't want that, but that's cool for you.
Right.
What do you think about that? Is that rude?
Like, what do you say instead, or what do I think about it? That's cool.
What do you think about saying, yeah, that's cool for you? That's kind of rude, right? That's going to come off rude.
Feels
But
rude. It feels rude. I don't know. I mean, why don't we ask our listeners, and if you're watching on YouTube, comment and or hit us up on our social, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this one. I don't know what else we can say. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying I need to think about whether that's something we've been conditioned into doing, which clearly we have, but is it the right time to say it? I'm not sure. It's a good question.
What
I'm glad you
about
brought it up. I think, yeah.
what about this? Oh, I'm pregnant on purpose or accident?
Oh God.
Is that bad? I'm being serious. I mean, because most
Answering
people,
that.
no, most people, no. Listen, I wasn't trying to be funny. I really mean that. A lot of people don't. They self admit that, oh, this is an accident, but we're a happy accident if you want to have kids.
Right. Right.
So we weren't
Oh,
trying,
I
but it
have
happened.
one. I think I just thought of it.
Oh, go.
I think I would say, all right, you tell me you're pregnant.
I'm
Go.
not gonna.
Tell me you're pregnant.
I'm pregnant.
Good for you.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
I think that's a good alternative because you're being honest, right? Because you're not saying great or congratulations if that doesn't feel right for you, but you are good for you.
That's good for you. No, 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 no. Good for
No,
you. That's
not
good.
that's
Yeah.
yeah, just good for you.
But what do people say sometimes? They just say, "What's that movie called?" We always
Oh,
talk
it's
about.
the show. Oh, I love that for you.
I love that for you. That's it. I love that for you. We just came up with it. The Child Free Connection Plus just justified our plus. When someone says, "I'm pregnant," you can say,
I love that for you.
"Boom." And then when they have the baby, you can say congratulations. All right, off
Congratulations.
babies. We didn't want to
Yeah.
start 2024 talking about babies, but I just thought it was funny. We watched the show and this came up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I did want to bring up New Year's Eve because we went to one of our
Ooh.
best friends' homes who who turned 50. So we were celebrating her 50th birthday on the 31st and also obviously New Year's Eve. So as a present, we do whenever she has parties. For some reason, I'm going to say we, but I'm saying me. I end up doing some kind
You,
of
yeah.
ridiculous dancing. The last time that she had a party, I danced along to the what did I do? Oh, the Milli Vanilli "Girl You Know It's True" video. And if
And
you're
you also did a little dirty dancing move too at that
Oh
point.
yeah, I did some dirty dancing move. This definitely ages us, but if you don't know who that is, Milli Vanilli were huge. Actually, there's a really good documentary out on them right now.
Yeah, there is.
I forget, but it's really, really interesting. So anyway, for her birthday, I thought, and she had mentioned before, it would great to see a choreographed routine or something. And she said this months ago, and I just remembered it. So I asked one of our other mutual friends if she would do a choreographed dance routine as a present for her because I knew that she was just going to crack up the whole time. So that's exactly what we did. Her husband gave us a list of her favorite songs. We picked 5 or 6 songs. We created a choreographed routine. We had about 3 rehearsals. We died laughing the whole time. We had so much fun doing it. And we performed it for everyone on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, I was really impressed. I mean, from the rehearsals, I mean, you literally went down into the building and into the studio and you
Yeah.
really worked it out. Her name's Kristen.
Yeah.
And you and Kristen killed it. Like you really did. I think you should post it on social. You haven't posted it yet.
No, no, I'm not posting it on social. I did post it inside our membership community. So if you're thinking about joining our membership community, there's a reason to do it. I was
That's
too
true.
embarrassed to put it on social media, but I did post it in there. We had all these like 80s and 90s moves in it, mainly a little salsa action. So it was really fun to do. But I was thinking about it because I posted it. I don't know if I posted it yesterday or this morning, and it made me think into our community platform, and it made me think about the fact that we had the freedom to do that, right? We just had a silly idea. We spent the time doing the choreography. After one of rehearsals, we went out for drinks after. Like it was just such a natural, flowy thing for us to do. We had so much fun doing it, and it ended up, being great for Vanessa. But yeah, so I just thought it was a lot of fun. I'm glad that
Yeah,
you liked it. It was meant to be silly and fun, and it was, but yeah. Mhm.
it was fun. It was very good. I think you should not think it was too silly because I thought it was
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was a child-free New Year's Eve too. Well, not necessarily. There was one couple there that had a baby, but most of the
Yes.
people at the party were child-free, which was really interesting.
Yeah. And which
But
we've talked about before, that we have a lot of child-free friends here in Austin and just sort of worked out that way. But go ahead.
yeah,
What'd you say?
no, no, no. I was just,
Oh,
I was just saying, coming out of the holidays too, I
yeah.
am just so grateful. They were easy. And they were easy for a lot of reasons. I mean, of course,
Mhm.
you buy your nieces and nephews and some family some gifts and stuff like that. But ultimately,
Mhm.
it was so nice and peaceful and relaxing because you
Yes.
don't have those obligations being a child-free person that you would if you had children. It was just, I just want to just recognize that, express a little gratitude.
Yeah.
And we also talked about giving gratitude to 2023. So many people are like, 2024 New Year's resolutions. What am I going to do in the new year? And they forget
Yeah.
about the old year and what it's
Yeah.
given them. So we really express a lot of gratitude to 2023. So I'm coming out very grateful, as you can tell.
Yeah, I think the past few days have been really good here. We've had some great positive vibes. We just had 2 people join our membership community. Tonight, we have our first membership community meetup, live meetup, which we
Yep.
have twice a month at least. And I'm excited to do that. And also, just a quick mention, I start my program next week. It's Child Free for Me, which is my favorite thing to do. I love holding my program. And if you're listening or if you're watching and you're about somewhere between 60% and 100% sure that you want to be child free, but something is holding you back, you can't figure it out. Maybe it's fear, maybe anxiety, maybe it's pressure. And you're also not sure, okay, I'm going to make this child free choice, but what the hell does that mean? So,
Yeah.
all that discovery we do in my program, it starts next week. And if you go to ischildfreeforme.com, you can take a look and book a free call with me. So I'm
Yeah.
excited about that too. I love starting the
Yeah.
new year off with actionable steps.
Yeah. I'm excited for your January class. You got a bunch of people signed up
Yeah.
and it should be good. Can't wait to hear all about it. By the way,
Yeah.
I just took a sip of coffee. Does that sound gross? Can you hear it in your headset? Me
I don't
drinking?
know. You can't, I can't hear any kind of swallowing. Makes
Love some
me,
coffee at 1 o'clock in the
grosses
afternoon.
me out. Um, yeah. And well, we won't get into your coffee addiction
It
problem.
is a true addiction. It's a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. But it actually, you have been saying lately that you are absolutely in love with your child-free mornings. So I don't know if coffee is part of that
It is.
thing that you're feeling lately.
Actually, I won't say coffee is part of it. I'll say this, you know, and it really hit me over the holidays.
Yeah.
My mornings are my new moment of gratitude that I'm going to practice every single day
Okay.
because there are so many things about waking up and the routine that I'm on that I've kind of created over the past couple weeks that it just reminds me every day that I made the right decision to not have children. One is the actual art of waking up, which is slow rise, no running kids, no nothing. So, and I've witnessed this
Mhm.
with my family and friends. They have the kids come in, or you have to just get up out of obligation to go handle stuff. That's number one. So it's a slow rise, gentle alarm clock. And then I do
Mhm.
this new thing where I go get my coffee and then I come out into the kitchen, right actually here where we're doing this podcast because we have a small
Our,
apartment
our studio, you mean?
in our studio. And in the kitchen, I'm tall, I'm 6'2", so I need some space. So it's this long space. Is I sip my coffee and I stretch for like 45 minutes, just every
Mhm.
morning, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, a little long.
Yeah.
And I just stretch, and sometimes it's before the sun rises, sometimes it's right after, but depends when I wake up. And I just have this peaceful moment while I listen to meditation music. And what a day, what a way to start your day. How lucky are we that we can start our days with peace and quiet? And I'm adding gratitude, as I just mentioned. Your thoughts?
Yeah, extremely lucky. I mean, we love to roll into our mornings, but don't forget that not only has to do with the fact that we're child free, but also that we right now work from home. And you and I have had different moments in our lives when one of us is working from home, the other one isn't, and now we both happen to be working from home. So we do get that luxury, and we do take full advantage of it because it is really nice to start your day just like how you described, and to be able to take our time, especially with our bodies and with what we put in our bodies, because it's so important for us. So I love it. I think stretching is a great idea, as you know. And also, I want to bring up that I'm starting to, I used to teach yoga. I taught for about 6 or 7 years, and I've been really wanting to. And I finally starting to teach class next Saturday. I'm going to teach every Saturday at 9 a.m. And I'm really excited about it because I think that I was just making excuses. Obviously, with work and everything, I didn't have time to teach during the week, but it's something that I've been wanting to do. And then I just said, I'm going to do it. And I think that it rolls into the whole thing we were talking about last year, where as child-free people, a lot of times we're like, oh, we have extra time and we can pursue our passions and our hobbies. But sometimes we get like in this frozen state where we're not taking action on any of that.
Yeah.
So this is my way of saying, like, this is something I love to do. I've always loved to do it. And I didn't think too deeply about it because then I was going to analyze it to death. I remember I came to you and I'm like, wait, can I teach when I also have my program? Right. It was just so much going on. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to say, like, and I put it on the schedule. I put myself on the schedule and it's happening and I can't turn back now. But it's really nice to have that time to say, like, you know what? I'm going to start teaching yoga again.
I'm proud of you, because I know that you loved doing it when I first met you, even though you had just kind of stopped doing it, but you really enjoyed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to be good. I think, this year me and you talked a lot about, pushing ourselves to go out there and do,
Yeah.
more, create more hobbies, create more with the time that we have. And of course, I should complement that effort by really, and I'm gonna once it starts getting warmer, and
Yeah.
I'm marking it down on this podcast, so I have to
Mm-hmm.
stick to it. I'm gonna go take rowing lessons that I've been talking about for 4 years. I'm gonna go do it because we have this
Are
lake right
you
outside.
sure? Because I could just play
Excuse me.
this clip for you.
You
Okay.
can play the clip. The
Okay.
listeners or viewers, if you're watching on
All right.
YouTube, you can hold me to
TBD.
it.
TBD.
That I'll give myself a timeline. By July, I will be rowing on Lake Austin, not
Okay.
Lake
Not
Austin,
Lake Austin. Lady Bird Lake.
Lady Bird
Yeah.
Lake, and at least a couple times a month. I'm going to try it. I'm not going to try it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Okay. All right. I'm going to hold you to it. It's up
Yeah,
to
it's
you if
great
you want to.
exercise, and it's a
Yeah.
hobby that I've been talking about, and I've just been putting it off. Procrastination, big problem.
Yeah. Oh, and that also reminds me of something that we did during the holidays that we had never done together before, which is pickleball. We played
Oh my
pickleball with our
god!
friends. I
I
know.
went into that like,
That was so
everyone's
fun.
it's the trendy thing to do. It's all the
Yeah.
hype, and I was a little skeptical. And our
Hmm.
friends Gabriel and MF invited us out, and
Yeah.
it's addicting. Yeah, it's fully
It's
it's addicting.
fun.
I'm
It's
buying a
really
paddle.
fun.
I'm buying a
Yeah.
paddle.
Well, paddles, because I need
Paddles.
one too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, paddles.
So I had been taking some lessons last summer, but I hadn't played. And if you take lessons, you don't play, it doesn't really mean anything. So I'm very excited to get back to it. It is too cold for me right now to play, but this weekend might not be so bad. So we can pick that up as well. Looking forward to playing pickleball with you and
You're
without
very
you.
good, by the way. You took a
Thank
couple
you.
classes prior to. I played tennis before, so I was
Yeah.
familiar with some of it, even though
Yeah.
it doesn't all translate. But I was very shocked at how good you were.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
I was like,
you.
wow,
I was really into it. I was
you
really
were.
trying, as I was learning, I was like, okay, this is something that I need to take seriously because I'm going to be doing it for a long time.
Yeah,
So thank you. I appreciate that.
yeah,
Uh, and I also wanted to ask you, you were telling me last night, and I was like, oh, you can just tell me on the podcast about you listened to an 80 something year old woman talk about
yeah. So
something about life.
there's a she's like a motivational speaker type of
Hmm.
personality on Instagram, maybe on TikTok, I don't know. But from an 80 something year old woman giving kind of life advice based off of everything she went through, but she's very blunt and direct about it, which I really appreciate.
Yes.
And she just I watched one that was talking about really, you know, quit feeling sorry for yourself was the
The
topic,
theme. Yeah.
was the theme. And it just really hit me because she just really went into the fact that we have a limited time on this planet, and time goes by quick, and there are times to grieve, like when there's something, someone dies, and but then there are times that we just feel sorry for ourselves because it's easy. And
Right.
it's easy. I mean, I did it. I'll admit right now, I didn't have a great 2023. I spent a lot of time. We said we would be honest on this podcast, so here it goes. I spent a lot of time in 2023 feeling sorry for myself. You know, whatever it was. There was a
Right.
million things. Health, career, you name it. I just constantly was just in this kind of rut. And I watched this at the perfect time because it was towards the end of the year. It was like I think it was New Year's Eve. And I watched it and it just hit me. It was just like, you know what? We make this choice to be happy. You can really make this choice. Now, like I said, if you're grieving, if it's something serious, you have the right and you should. It's healthy to take that time to grieve. But if you really just wake up every day, even if you're having a bad night's rest, like I did last night, we talked about it over coffee this morning,
Mhm.
and just make up your mind that I'm going to be happy today and fight that feeling of like, oh, you know what? This is wrong in my life or that's wrong in my life. I mean, as animals and as organisms, we tend to focus on the negative, not because it's a negative thing, but because we want to self improve. But in that can come with a lot of negative self talk, beating
Yeah.
yourself up, making yourself feel horrible, and just because you're not doing enough. But you can really push yourself to be better, but also keep it positive and make yourself happy. You can physically make yourself happy. And that's what she was saying. She was like, you wake up and you just say to yourself, I'm going to be happy today. I'm not going to let anyone bring me down. And I know it sounds easy, but it's hard to do. And so I've
Right.
been
It takes
practicing it.
practice.
I've been
Mhm.
practicing it just in 2 days and it's been working. And look at me. Look how happy I am today. I'm a happy guy right now. And why? And guess what? I woke up in a bad mood. I had a bad dream and I had a bad night's sleep. And I woke up and I said, "You're going to be happy today.
Right.
You're gonna spread joy
You did.
in Veronica's life today. Make her happy."
This is all true because you did wake up grumpy and then you did turn it around. And this is why I'm finding out now. And I was thinking about it because when you woke up, sort of grumpy, I was just kind of rolling my eyes like, here we go. You're going to be complaining all day. But it wasn't the case at all. And I want to say thank you to you as well because this is something that you came to me a while ago, not being a New Year's Eve, not being a New Year's resolutions, but just being a lifestyle change that you wanted to make. And you started probably like a month ago or 2 months ago, just trying to really work on your mindset because it really does revolve around your mindset. You tend to lean negative and just trying to lean positive as best as you can. And I really have seen a huge difference um, in you. And also, of course, that comes over to our relationship and to our day because if you're in a crappy mood all day then that's not great for me, right? Or if I'm in a crappy mood it's not great for you. So I'm liking this Rick 2.0 and I hope that we continue to work on this moving forward.
Yeah, I'm liking it too. I
Yeah.
mean, it's just healthy overall. I feel better, and
Yeah.
like I said, it's a work in progress. If I can do, I'm looking to have an 85 to 90% year, meaning I'm giving myself 10% to, you're going to have your weekdays where you just can't pull yourself up. And that's okay. I really feel like
Right.
that's okay. But you got to just,
Yeah.
you got to give yourself the day and then wake up the next day and just say, all right, that was it. I'm done. I'm moving forward. And that's my plan.
I like it. I'm into it. I like it. I like that we're saying this publicly. I
Yeah.
love the whole
I'm
thing.
being held accountable.
Yes,
And
exactly.
by
You're
the way,
being held
I
accountable.
give you permission to call me out on this podcast throughout the year if I have these negative. You're going to be like,
I
you did it.
mean, I'm all over it. I'm
All
loving
right.
this. So thank you. I
All
will
right.
definitely do that.
And I know you will.
And I'm looking down at my phone because we're getting a lot of responses because we as I mentioned earlier, we posted a reel earlier today. I think it was this morning,
Mm-hmm.
right? That we
This
posted it?
morning, yes.
Yeah, it was this morning. And we posted a reel about Irina Garten, who is the Barefoot Contessa for some of you out there who watched her cooking show. She's amazing. And she has her and her husband
Child
live
free.
a child-free life. And she specifically talks about in this latest interview, I can't remember who it was. I think it was the BBC, but I don't think I wrote it down. And that she said that her decision to remain child-free was largely due to the fact that she did not want to recreate her childhood. So we did a reel on this and we asked people, how much did your childhood affect your decision to be child free? And I want to talk about it. I want to read actually some of the responses because I'm just seeing my phone here,
Go for it.
getting it from them. But I want to ask you first. I
Sure.
want to ask you, in your opinion, and I don't think that we've ever really talked about this before, that I remember, and you know how my memory is, so we could have talked about it 10 times. But
I don't think we did.
but do you feel that your childhood affected your decision to not have children?
1000%, yes.
Okay. And how so?
So I'll say this, I didn't know it then. It's not like I was going through my childhood and being like, I don't want this, I don't want that. But looking back, I can see
Mm-hmm.
why I ended up leaning in the direction of not having children and living a child-free life.
Yeah.
So, you know, I don't want to go too deep unless you want me to, as far as,
No,
you
no. I
know,
mean, we could go. I don't think this is about. I mean, obviously, she's talking about a childhood with trauma, but I mean, when you look at many of us, a lot of us had traumatic childhoods.
right.
I think it was more in the if you put it in a very light terms, like happy or unhappy childhood. Um, and those are just really simple categories we can put them in to differentiate, but that's obviously a million other things around it. But yeah, so go ahead. So
Well, I mean, I won't go like you said, and I've
yeah,
talked about this on other podcasts about
yeah,
like my childhood. So we won't
yes,
even go there, but I'll just say this, and like you said, great point. Everyone has, a lot of people have gone through trauma, and that
yeah.
has led to not just a child free decision, but other decisions that you make
Mhm.
in life, being good or bad. And in my case, I made a lot of bad decisions and I've learned from them. That's the good news. But ultimately, the reason why I say now I look back is because I do remember, and I wouldn't have noticed it at the time, but I do remember thinking often that my parents' job raising the five boys, I have two half brothers, two stepbrothers. That's a whole
Mhm.
other story, the way that family came together, but our family came together. But
You shared it, by the way. I think
I
it's
know,
episode number 2 or
2 or
something.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2 or 3.
So, but I remember thinking, having this vivid memory of this looks like a lot of work. Like as a child, like this is
Yes.
just so stressful. My mom looks stressed. She
Mhm.
looks like she's going through it. My dad is, absent. My stepdad's absent. Um, and because of work, not because of, well, give him that credit. He traveled a lot, but it just left like, oh, I remember thinking, I'm not looking forward to this phase of my life when it comes. Not, oh, I don't have to do this. It's, oh, I got to do this, and this is going to suck when I hit that age. It was almost a countdown to doom for me. So that's
Right.
how I reflect. Was
Mhm.
this like, you know this feeling of oh my gosh, at when I hit 24, that's what I assumed I would have kids. That seemed
I
old.
know we
that
all
seemed old
did.
that seemed old when you were 12. When I hit 24 or 25,
Yeah.
and I quote unquote have to have kids,
Yeah.
my life's over. That's the feeling I had.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if that's normal, and people just, as you get older, you realize like, oh, I can, or I want to, or I don't want to have children, and that becomes a little more rational. But looking back, that my childhood directly had an impact on that choice, in the sense that I didn't have kids, and that I recognized it just in time before I made the mistake of having kids.
Yeah. Well, first of all, let me just say that because people bring this up a lot, like whether that's normal or not doesn't matter. That's one of my most hated words. I hate that word because it makes us all feel like we're not normal whenever we
I didn't mean it that way, but
share
I know
a
what you mean.
certain feelings. Yeah, yeah. No, I know. I just want to clarify that
Yeah.
everyone's normal because they're doing whatever it is that they want to do or they're thinking whatever way they want to think. But
You keep us so responsible on this podcast. You're so you're I love you for that. See, I don't think like that. And I'm not that I'm mean. It's just that I'm just kind of like diarrhea of the mouth a lot of the times. And you're so calculated, like, hold on, let's make sure those who are listening, this is what Rick meant. So moving forward in 2024, if I'm blabbing, I
yes.
apologize in advance if I say something insensitive, and I know you'll correct me, but it's not that I mean it. It's
Yeah.
just that I just say what's in my mind. I have no filter. I don't know how you were born with that filter before
Yeah.
you think before it comes out of your mouth. I don't have that.
I do. I do.
Yeah,
And it's not even about correcting you. It's just about like
I don't think.
clarifying, right?
Listen,
Clarifying. Yeah.
that's I am so happy that I have you in my life to be that to fill that weakness. I'll call it a weakness.
Yeah.
That weakness that I have, you fill.
Yes.
So thank you. But
I
continue.
am. I
Sorry, I
am your
disrupted.
filter in life generally.
You are.
Uh but I think the first thing I want to say about this, because it is a sensitive topic, but it's also an important one, but it's one that's it sheds a dark light on child-free people sometimes, and I just want to be able to remove that. Because childhood, from my what I have read and from my research, or a traumatic childhood, is more of a perhaps a factor or a reason for someone choosing to be child free, but it's not the sole cause, right? So, to give an example, I looked it up today, and I was thinking about the Pew Research Center, which is something that I refer to a lot whenever maybe here or when I'm teaching or whenever I'm discussing studies, because I read so many of them. And they listed the reasons that people generally list for not having kids. And I saw that they did mention, so I'm going to go through them. There's 11 of them, and I just want to list them really quickly because I'm sure that whoever's listening or watching is going to relate to some of this. So it's no desire, career, environment, state of the world, kids are expensive, health and medical reasons, other caretaking responsibilities, desire to travel, lifestyle, timing or partner doesn't want kids, and lastly, it's family history and definition of family. So,
By the way, those
mhm.
are all great podcast topics. I think we could literally break those out into hours. Those are very valid reasons.
Yeah, I mean, they really are. And I know that some people feel because they've been cornered so much and because they've been asked so much, they feel like they don't want to share their reasons. And that's absolutely fine. But sometimes it is important to share the reasons so that people start to understand why we chose this lifestyle. So
Of
people
course.
understand where we're coming from. So, so yeah, it can be a factor, but it's not the whole reason. And from the research, I think what I was saying before, from the research that I have seen, is that so the way that it can be looked at is from both perspectives, right? It's really 50-50 in what direction child free people go. If you have a traumatic childhood, you could even go in the direction of I am I do not want to repeat any of this family stuff. I do not want to act like my mother or my father did. I do not want to continue. It's in my DNA. Maybe there's a mental issue, generational trauma. Like you just are set that is the reason that you do not want to continue and have your own kids and build your family in the traditional sense of family. On the
Mhm.
other side, we have just as many child free people with extremely happy childhoods. There was no problems. There wasn't really any significant trauma that has altered them throughout their lives. They really were happy with the way that their parents treated them. They have fond memories, but they still decide not to have their own children. So it is not I think that the media or people may put it as a sole cause. Oh, you had a bad childhood. That's the only reason that you don't want to have kids. No, it may be a factor, but it's not the sole cause. So I think that we're seeing that even as people answer us, um, in our reel and in our short, that that's not the case, because I'm seeing people say they had great childhoods, they had amazing childhoods, they were so happy when they were kids, and some people say that there was a lot of trauma that they didn't want to repeat. And by the way, I did a video on YouTube called The Reason I Almost Had a Baby, where I talk about my personal experience with this, trying to figure out, do I want to repeat this? Is this a good enough reason to have a child? So in case you want to check it out, it's up there. And yeah, so I don't think that it is a sole cause at all. It definitely is a factor, just like adding to your list, maybe finances is important, is a big reason why you don't have kids. And maybe it's at the top of your list, maybe it's in the middle, maybe it's at the end. But it's not saying that child-free people there's something wrong with them, or they're damaged, or they're not willing to take up the responsibility. That is just rhetoric that we've heard over and over, that we're selfish, any of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, you listed 11 main reasons right there. And
Yeah.
I think, sometimes obviously it makes sense what you're saying, by the way. And,
Yeah.
it makes sense that it's probably a combination of a lot, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of factors. Like, yeah, looking back, like I had mentioned, my childhood definitely had an impact on me not wanting children and making this choice. But there are others things on that list that also, namely
Right.
financial. That was a big one for me. Jesus. I think
Right,
about that all the time.
exactly. And also, I think that because some people are writing that they decided not to have kids because they did have traumatic childhoods, but they decided to, and I think I actually I wrote here. Oh, this one is from Julie. She posted on her Instagram. She said, I'd rather spend the rest of my life devoting my time and energy to healing and giving myself what I didn't get, which is some very similar to the story that I share in that video I just talked about. And a couple of people said, I just wanted to really focus on myself. I had a lot of healing to do, or I needed to work through a lot of the trauma. I hope that doesn't sound crazy. I hope that doesn't sound selfish. And I just want to clarify here too. I just wrote back to some of them, but if anyone is listening or watching, it is not selfish and it is not crazy to take care of yourself, to love yourself, and to be thoughtful and to be mindful and to realize what it is that you need as an adult to feel safe, to feel loved, to feel fulfilled. There is nothing selfish or crazy about that. So please do not think that, and know that we support you 1000%. You are 1000% also validated here in the space. So just wanted to clarify that as well.
I completely understand what you're saying, and I do appreciate you bringing up the selfish thing, because for a long time I was selfish. Now, I wasn't selfish always in the right reasons because I was focused on myself and my career, but I realized later that you can be selfish in things that are healthy for you, like mindset and taking care of yourself. And that I've shifted completely from less about like, oh, it's all about me and only me, but it's also about making myself a better person and feeling happier. And I think that's important.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you feel that way. And I did want to
by
share
the
one.
way,
Yeah.
I will say this.
Yeah.
I often think,
Mm-hmm.
what would I be like if I had made a mistake and had children? If I had just done that because I thought I was supposed to.
Right.
And I can know this. I know this 1,000%, that I would not mentally be in a good space, physically be in a good space. I think that I would be self-destructive. I think I would have continued drinking.
Mm-hmm.
I've been sober for 5 years, for those who might not have heard some of the other podcasts. So that's like, it was a big thing of me getting rid of. I think I would have been a lot more negative, as we were mentioning earlier at the top of this podcast. I
Mm-hmm.
would have been in a worse version of myself. I really would have been. So
Yeah.
in a way, I'm going to say something really dramatic.
Okay.
Being child free has saved my life.
Oh, that's not
You know what
dramatic
I
at
mean?
all. I mean,
Well,
I
I mean,
think
it
that,
is in a sense.
yeah, 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 yeah. I wasn't
But it's
trying to
also
take it.
very vulnerable. Yeah, I'm also being very vulnerable because it shows that I'm not strong enough to juggle having kids and taking care of myself at the same time.
Yeah. And that's what I meant. I didn't mean dramatic. I mean, to me, dramatic is like you're over exaggerating something. What I meant was that it's completely valid and you're completely right. It did
Saved my life.
save your life, considering you feel that way, because you know yourself now so well that there are certain aspects of parenthood that just don't flow with your personality, with some of your correct characteristics. So yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's the whole point, right? The whole point is that we know ourselves the best, and we have to look within, and we have to see like, okay, what am I like now? Am I able to handle different situations? Am I able to? And then you just go through the different lists, and you have done that, and you are very clear in the fact that this is not for you. And if you feel that it has saved your life, that's absolutely 1000% valid.
Yeah, I mean, reflecting, I'm very lucky, because there were times where I could have easily gone down that path, and I didn't, the path of having kids, and I didn't. So it's
Well, I think a lot of people feel the same way that you do. So before we go, I did want to answer. Someone wanted to know, they sent us in a question over DM about how our ceasefire was going. So if you missed the podcast, a few podcasts ago, we talked about how we were in a ceasefire going into the holidays. I think it was early December or late November, where we decided that we were going to be nice to each other. Be kind to each other, because we were really stressed with work, with life. We're in a very tight space right now. We're in a transitional space, and we had been getting on each other's nerves. We were not getting along, and we really wanted to have a nice holiday season. So we decided to call a ceasefire, where we're just not allowed to not be nice. And if you're going to say something that's not nice, then don't say it at all,
yeah.
basically. And I
Go
think
find
that,
someone. Go find someone else and say it to them, but
yeah,
not to
exactly.
the
But
person
not to us,
that's
right?
right.
Because we live together. And I have to say, I mean, you'll have your own opinion. I actually think that it worked really well, because in my opinion, we had a really nice holiday season, and we've been really nice to each other, and we've been very cuddly and wuddly, and I really appreciate it. And I think that
Did you say
I
wuddly? Is that a thing? Cuddly and wuddly? I like it. I
I
want to
don't
make sure
know.
I heard you correctly. God,
I
wuddly.
don't know.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. So, I think that we should continue the ceasefire for the remain of us living in this apartment, which we're a few months away from leaving, because the space is just too tight not to be nice to each other. How do you feel about continuing the ceasefire
No,
for
I
the
think
remainder of the time that we live in this very tight space?
I think the ceasefire should end. We should start being mean to each other again. That's what I think. Of course, I want him to continue the ceasefire. I don't want to end it. I mean, peace is good. We've been very peaceful. You're like you said, we've been more, um,
Cuddly wuddly.
cuddly wuddly. What the? All right, cuddly wuddly. We'll go with it.
Mhm.
We've been more.
I'm looking it up.
We've
Mhm.
just been nice. It's been nice. It's been a nice reprieve from the 3 quarters of 2023, the first 3 quarters of 2023, which it was a lot of stress. I'm happy it's a new year.
I just want to point out, because I just looked it up, it is an adjective. Cute and cuddly is cuddly wuddly. It's Anyway,
A
I googled
wuddly is a
it.
word.
It's cuddly wuddly. It's like together. Cuddly
Oh, I never heard
wuddly.
that.
Yes, it's slang for cute and cuddly.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right. Well,
just FYI.
there it is. I won't be using that in in my
But
everyday.
anyway, thank you so much for the person who asked. I don't remember their name. Sorry. I should have written it down, but so kind of you to wonder where our ceasefire was. It's working out really well. We're doing really well.
It's
And
wonderful.
yes, yes. As we said, we're going to continue going. And yeah, thank you so much for listening.
Yep, we're looking forward to this year. Thank you all, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.